Right. So from 2019 onwards, there are two questions, one for unit number 2, one for unit number 3. So we'll go a little faster so we can finish. 2019, okay, some questions are very easy, guys. Those questions, I will just give you the answer and we'll skip. Okay. What factors influence the market demand for a normal good? Price of the good, price of related goods, consumer income, consumer taste and preferences, number of consumers, right? All of those. Very easy thing. Give 4 though, right? Be on the safer side. You don't know whether they are giving half a mark or 1 mark. No? So give around 4 answers on the safer side. Explain why a reduction in the price of a normal good does not increase the demand for that good. We did a very similar question in the fast track also. A reduction in the price of a normal good does not increase the demand. It increases what? It increases the quantity demanded. Because why? An increase in demand means a rightward shift. Okay, increase in demand means a rightward shift. But a reduction in the price doesn't cause an increase in demand. So you need to clearly write and say in your answer, a reduction in the price will cause a increase in quantity demanded, not an increase in the demand. Increase in demand is when other factors change, and that is a rightward shift. Reduction in the price doesn't cause all of that. A reduction in the price will cause to go from here to here. That is what you call an increase in quantity demanded. So for 2 marks, you need to explain that story. Is that okay, guys? A and B? Yes, the old syllabus paper, guys, I will not discuss because I'm sure most of you all would have not done, right? The answers are there, you can go through. Okay? Right. Coming to this. Explain why the quantity demanded for a good decreases as price increases. So for this, what should you do? You should explain, you should say this is because there is a negative relationship between price and QD, and that is because of the substitution effect and the income effect. And you need to explain what happens when the price increases. So according to the substitution effect, what happens? You need to clearly explain. Now this I did explain in the previous class. So when the price of the good increases, what happens? The good becomes relatively more expensive. Therefore, what happens? Therefore, consumers who are consuming the good will now move to the cheaper substitute. As a result, the quantity demanded goes down. You need to explain that story. 2 marks. Then you need to explain the income effect. So when the price of the good increases, what happens? According to the income effect, a consumer's purchasing power or a consumer's real income comes down. What happens? Purchasing power, or in other words, you can say real income, decreases. As a result, he can now only afford to buy less of that good, meaning quantity demanded will come down. So that is why when the quantity demanded decreases as price increases. So these 2 effects you need to clearly explain. 2 marks for substitution, 2 marks for income effect, and I did explain this in detail in our previous class. Hoping you all were there or at least watch that recording. Is that part okay, guys? Fine. Okay. Moving to the next. Market demand and supply equations are given. Demand and supply, calculate economic surplus at market equilibrium. Okay. Can you quickly give me what's the equilibrium price and quantity? Right. I'm not going to do this for y'all. Equilibrium price and quantity. Price is 14, quantity is 18. Okay. Price is 14, quantity is 18. Maximum demand price. That is the price when QD equals 0. Maximum demand price 20. Okay. Minimum supply price. Minimum supply price 5. Okay. Then how much is the consumer surplus? Consumer surplus is half into 18 into 6. That is half into 18 into 6, 54. Okay. How much is producer surplus? That is half into 18 into 9. How much is that? 81. Okay. Then economic surplus is the addition of consumer surplus plus producer surplus. How much is that then? That is a 135. Guys, if you all get a question like this, these are like free marks, okay? No, you don't find economic surplus directly, guys. That is not logically correct, because economic surplus is the addition of consumer and producer. I know you can find this big area all at once, but don't do that, because they might give you marks separately for calculating consumer and producer. So always go this way. Okay, now a question like this is 3 marks in your paper, guys. Right, you jump up and 4 marks confirm. Going to the next. Briefly describe the factors influencing price elasticity of supply. Okay, so we'll try to explain 4 factors. Yes, total surplus is also economic surplus, correct. Can you give me a few factors, guys? Now we did this, fast track people, we did this last week on what are the factors. Okay, so we'll start with factor mobility. So now how do you explain this? I'm not going to type the answer, guys, word by word. What is factor mobility? Factor mobility is how easily you can transfer your factors of production from one good to another good. Now, sometimes, let's say, if the production of one good is highly technological and very specialized, let's say something like producing weapons or something, some complicated good, then factor mobility will be low, no? You can't use those machines to produce something else, no? You can't use, yeah, even robots, right? You can't use that labor to produce something else also, because he might not know. So in that case, guys, so you explain what is factor mobility. If your factors of production are immobile, like I explained, what do you think the elasticity would be? The good is highly specialized and you can't move your factors of production around, because this person might not work well in the other industry. You can't use this machine in the other industry. Then what type of elasticity would it be? Elastic or inelastic? If your factors are immobile, it's going to be inelastic. What if you can easily move your factors of production? What if it is mobile? You can soon take factors from this one, put to this one. Take the labor from this, put to this. Use this machine in that. If that is the case, then it will be elastic. It is not perfectly elastic, elastic. Right, that's the first factor you need to explain. Second factor. What else? Okay, we'll say the nature of the good. So if the good is something like an agricultural good, what can you say? Can you easily increase the supply of this? Price of, let's say, tomatoes or potatoes increase. Can you increase the supply today? Can't, right? Because you will have to grow the potato. It will take around 3 months for the potatoes to grow, maybe. I don't know. It will take some time. Then there is inelastic. If it is a manufactured good, then you can tell your workers to work overtime. You can buy a new machine and soon produce, right? That makes the supply elastic. Third one, you can say availability of, yeah, agricultural goods, PDPS, both are industries. Availability of storage facilities. So if you can store the good, what do you think it will be? In other words, it's a non-perishable good. Elastic or inelastic? These are good, you can store it and keep, you can put back to your warehouse, you can do that, right? Then the supply becomes elastic. Why? Because if the price increases, whatever you would have stored and kept, you will soon put out to the market. If the price comes down, you will put it back to your warehouse. So you can soon adjust the supply. But if it is something that you cannot store, in other words, if it is a good that is perishable, then what happens? Something like tomatoes. You can't store and keep. No. If you keep it out within, let's say, 1 week, it will get rotten. So then, if the price goes down, can you put it back to your warehouse and sell later? Can't. No. So you can't change your quantity supply. You will still supply the same amount. Price goes down also, never mind what to do. I have to sell off my tomatoes and put. If the price goes up, can you get the ones that you stored and kept, put it out? No, because there is nothing that you have stored and kept. So making it inelastic. Right. Then guys, time taken to adjust the supply. How does that work? So in the short run, or in other words, immediately, when the price change, can you change your supply? Immediately price changes today. Can you change your supply today? Can't, no. It will take some time, no. If it's agricultural good, it will take some time to grow it. If it's a other good also, for you to produce it and send it to the market, it takes time. That means it is inelastic. But in the long run, with time, what happens? With time, you can now adjust your supply. Now you have enough time to hire people, buy machines, do all of that. So with time, supply becomes elastic. Is that okay? So for all of these guys, you have to write paragraphs, right? I wrote simple things. They're asking to briefly explain. You can't write points like this. So you need to combine this and write a nice paragraph. So please practice doing that. Is that okay? No, this is the same short run and long run we learn in unit number 4. Remember, in short run, we can only increase labor. So long run, you can hire, you can increase your capital, buy machines and all. So it makes it elastic. Okay. Right. Then going to the last question. Again, an interesting question. This one says, suppose the average monthly income of a consumer rises from 35,000 to 45,000. And the quantity of bread consumed by the consumer in the same month falls from 30 to 20. Yes. Can you all just, without doing any calculation, tell me what type of good this is? Without doing a calculation itself, you should be able to feel, guys. Income is increasing 35 to 45. But demand is decreasing. He is getting a salary increment, 10,000 more. But the demand is going from 30 loaves to 20 loaves. Kind of like an inferior good, right? Negative relationship between income and demand. Inferior good, no? What is happening? Income is increasing, he is buying less. So maybe now earlier at 35,000, he bought 30 loaves meat. Every day he ate bread. But now when he goes to 45,000, 20 days he is eating bread. Other days maybe he is eating paratha. Or maybe the fellow is eating, let's say, fried rice. Right? So bread has become inferior now. That is what is happening. But forget about that, fellow. What is the income elasticity of demand for bread of this consumer? Is bread a normal or inferior good? Yes. What is the equation for YED? YED is change in quantity demanded divided by the change in income multiplied by income over QD. But this question, guys, are they specifically telling us find the YED at the income level 35,000? Find the YED at the income level 45,000. Have they said us that? They have not told us, no? So then what do we take for this income and QD? This income, what do we take? Do we take 35 or 45? For this QD, do we take 30 or 20? How do we figure that out? They have not told us. So in that kind of a situation, you can take the average income and the average quantity demanded. If the question clearly says find YED at the income level of 45,000, then you take 45,000 as income, 30 as the loaf of bread. If they say find YED at the level of 45,000, then you take 45,000 and 20. That is fine. But here they have not given us that. No. So since they have not given us that, what can we do? Take the average. So what is the change in quantity demanded? Please be very careful, plus and minus. 30 loaves is going to 20 loaves. So change in quantity demanded is a minus 10. Change in income, 35 going to 45 plus 10,000. Multiplied by income. What did I tell? In a situation like this, you can take the average income. So what is the average income? 35,000 plus 45,000 divided by 2. In other words, it is 40,000, no? So what is the average quantity demanded? 30 plus 20 divided by 2. In other words, that is 25. Okay. So you can do this, right? So then how much do we get, guys? So minus 10 over plus 10,000 multiplied by, here this is 40,000 divided by, this is 25. So when we solve this, how much do we get, guys? Why divide by 2? That is because we are finding the average income, guys. So income here is 35, then it becomes 45. So 35 plus 45 divided by 2, we get the average income, the middle value. That is 40,000. And here also we find the average. You don't have to divide by 2 also, because we are dividing both sides by 2. No? So you will still get this thing. Yes, okay. There was a question about the equation. The equation is used to find at one particular point. I don't think you will get the same answer if you use the equation. The equation is used to find YED or PED at, that's the point method, at one particular point, not the average. So you can't use the equation there. Okay, so what is the final answer, guys? If you miss your minus, your final answer is wrong. It has to be minus 1.6. If you gave plus 1.6, your answer is wrong, because there is a minus 10 here. Be very careful. Okay, minus 1.6. That is your first part of your question. What is the income elasticity? Second part, is bread a normal or an inferior good under this situation? What can you say? Minus 1.6. How do you interpret that? Minus 1.6 makes the good the inferior good. Okay, so that is what you have to do. The only difference, guys, there is nothing difference in this method, right? The normal YED equation is this, no? Okay, now in this question they are not telling us, no, find YED at the income level of 35,000, find YED at the income level of 45,000. They are not telling us. They are saying just find the YED. So therefore, for income and quantity demanded, what we are doing, we are taking the average income and the average quantity demanded. That's the only difference. There is nothing else. So income is 35,000 and 45,000. What is the average then? How do you find the average, guys? 35 plus 45 divided by 2. So average is 40,000. That's what I am doing here. 35,000 plus 45,000 divided by 2, 40,000. Then the next one, same thing for quantity demanded. Here it's 30, here it's 20. So what's the average quantity demanded? 30 plus 20 divided by 2, 25. That's the only difference that I'm doing. So this is not like another method, guys. Just the difference is for income and QD, we are taking the average income and the average QD. Is that clear? Fine. That's the question there. Yep. Okay, so then you can check how much did you get for this question. It's pretty much an easy one. This is a 4-mark question. This is a 4-mark question. This is a 4-mark question. This is another 4 marks, and this is another 4 marks. I think it's very easy, right? I think you could have even got 20 out of 20. There was nothing that was tricky. Factors influencing market demand. Why is the reduction of a price not this one? QD and price. Economic surplus. PES and YED. That is question number 2 of the 2019 paper.